All right, listener name, buckle up because we're diving into some seriously weird stuff today.
Yeah, this one's a doozy.
We're talking pasted text, the Vanishing Room, but um, it's not your typical ghost story,
Oh,
you know?
no, not at all.
These excerpts, they're like puzzle pieces, you know?
Yeah.
Just glimpses into this whole mystery.
A mystery that'll leave you wondering what's real and what's not.
Exactly. So we've got this centuries-old inn, the Blackthorn Inn.
Oh, yeah. Steeped in local legends, the Blackthorn Inn.
But even in a place like that, Room 313 stands out.
It's notorious.
Not just for like creaky floorboards and, spooky vibes.
Right.
We're talking people have vanished from that room. Poof. Gone.
Disappeared without a trace.
And then there are the whispers about the room, like it changes.
Now that's where things get really interesting.
What does it even mean for a room to change? It's like something out of a nightmare.
Like reality itself is unstable.
Exactly. And that's where we meet Sarah Calloway.
Our intrepid travel blogger.
Right? She's all about the spooky stuff. Haunted places, abandoned asylums, that sort of thing.
But room 313, even with warnings.
Even with the innkeeper practically begging her to stay away.
She can't resist.
Nope. She's drawn to it.
Like a moth to a flame.
So she checks in, and her first night is pretty normal. But there are these little things that are just off.
There's tiny details that make you uneasy.
Yeah, like a clock running backwards.
Or a mirror reflecting her at a weird angle.
Just enough to make you question what's real.
Exactly. They chip away at your sense of normalcy.
And then there are the whispers.
Oh, the whispers.
Sarah's alone in the room, but she starts hearing them.
Faint at first, but then...
Getting louder.
Like the room itself is trying to communicate.
But in this creepy, secretive way.
It's brilliant for building tension.
Yeah.
You know? Whispers, they're inherently mysterious.
Totally. It's like, who's speaking? What are they saying?
It plays on that primal fear of the unseen.
For sure. And then the next morning, things get really strange.
We go from spooky to straight-up reality bending.
The furniture in the room, it's moved.
Not just a little bit either, like completely rearranged.
And Sarah has pictures from the night before to prove it.
So it's not just a trick of the mind.
This is something else. This is something that can actually manipulate the physical world.
Which begs the question, what is this power?
Is it malevolent?
Or just something we don't understand?
And then, to make things even weirder, a new window appears in the room.
Out of nowhere.
And it's not showing the inn's courtyard or anything. It's a completely different landscape.
Like something out of a dream.
Exactly. So at this point, Sarah knows something is seriously wrong.
And she starts looking for answers.
And she finds them. Hidden away, there's an old suitcase and a diary.
Belonging to a previous guest.
And this guest describes the exact same things. The shifting room, the whispers, the feeling of being trapped.
So Sarah's experience isn't unique.
There's a pattern.
A history of people being drawn in and then vanishing.
Like the room is choosing its victims.
And then Sarah finds a message scratched into the wall.
The room is alive. Chilling, right?
It changes everything.
Now we're not just dealing with a haunted room. We're dealing with an entity.
Something with a will of its own.
And that's where we'll pick up in part 2.
Oui.
Okay, listener name. When we left off, Sarah was facing that creepy message. The room is alive. And now trapped in the shifting whispering room, she finds something new.
A key.
Yeah, an old tarnished key. Right where the diary and suitcase were.
Like it's a clue. Or an offer.
Right. Like, what do you do with that? Do you use it? What if it's worse on the other side?
It's that classic horror dilemma, the devil you know versus the devil you don't.
But staying in the room isn't really an option for Sarah at this point. I mean, it's already messing with her head.
Yeah, warping her sense of reality.
So she takes the key and tries to use it, but the room fights back.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine the walls groaning, the floor, shaking, those whispers getting louder and more frantic.
It's like it doesn't want her to leave.
Like it needs her.
What's the room afraid of? What happens if she escapes?
That's a good question. Finally, the door bursts open. But it's not the hallway.
Yeah.
Sarah finds herself in the lobby. But it's not the same lobby she saw before.
No. This one's ruined, deserted.
Like it's been abandoned for centuries.
It's like the room exists outside of time.
It's a pocket dimension or something.
She's a traveler between worlds now.
Trapped in this in-between place.
Tapping into those primal fears, you know? The fear of the unknown, the fear of being lost.
Absolutely. Sarah runs out of the lobby. The door slams shut behind her. But when she turns around, the inn is gone.
Vanished. Like it never existed.
Was it ever real? Or was it all just a manifestation of the room?
It's like the inn itself was just a facade, hiding the true horror.
And even though the inn is gone, it left its mark on Sarah.
Literally.
She has a scar on her wrist, shaped like the room number,
A permanent reminder.
branded by the room, like it's claiming ownership.
Makes you wonder, did she really escape?
Yeah.
Or is a part of it still with her?
And that's not even the creepiest part. Back home, Sarah's working late one night and she catches her reflection in the window.
But it's not mirroring her movements.
It's moving on its own.
Like it has a life of its own.
Bone-chilling, right? Something followed her home.
Took root in her reflection.
And then the whispers start again.
They're back.
But now they're not confined to the room. They're in her world.
It leaves you with so many questions.
Did she bring something back with her? Are those whispers in her head? Or is it
No.
something else?
It's brilliant how the story doesn't give us any easy answers.
It blurs the lines between the supernatural and the psychological.
Is this a haunting? Or a psychological breakdown?
Or both.
It makes you question what's real.
If a room can change, can hold on to people, can even follow them home, what else is possible?
We're not always in control, are we? There are forces at play that we just don't understand.
Makes you think about how we try to make sense of the world. What happens when our understanding breaks down?
When the stories we tell ourselves unravel.
We're going to take a moment to process all of this. And then in part 3, we'll delve deeper into the themes and symbolism in the Vanishing Room. So listener name, that ending of the Vanishing Room. It really sticks with you, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about Sarah escaping.
It's of those final details. The reflection moving on its own. The whispers coming back.
Chilling stuff, right? It makes you wonder, did she really get away? Or is something still with her?
It's like the room itself is a metaphor for how past experiences can haunt us, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like trauma or fear.
Right.
Things we try to bury, but they keep coming back to the surface.
Exactly. And those whispers, yeah, at first they were so faint, almost easy to ignore. But then they got louder, more insistent, like they were trying to break through.
And now they're back in her everyday life, even though she's not in the room anymore.
Like a part of that room followed her home.
It makes you think, what if room 313 represents those parts of ourselves that we try to lock away?
The things we don't want to face.
Maybe the room is alive in a different sense. Alive in the way our memories and fears can feel so real and powerful.
So it's not just a haunted place. It's about how we can be haunted by our own pasts.
And the story doesn't tell us if it's supernatural or psychological.
Right. It could be both.
It's that ambiguity that makes it so unsettling.
Because if a room can change, can hold on to people, can even follow them home, then what else is possible?
It challenges our whole understanding of reality.
Makes you realize that maybe we're not always in control.
There might be forces at play that we just can't comprehend.
Forces that can change us, even when we think we've escaped.
It's a story about confronting the unknown, both inside ourselves and in the world around us.
It's a reminder that sometimes the things we try to leave behind have a way of finding their way back.
Listener name, we've explored the dark corners of the Vanishing Room together.
We've faced its mysteries and felt its chills. But the story doesn't end here, does it?
No, it stays with you. It makes you think.
What resonated with you? What would you have done in Sarah's shoes? Share your thoughts. Let's keep this conversation going.
Because sometimes the most terrifying stories are the ones that leave us with more questions than answers.
The ones that force us to confront the darkness within and the mysteries that lie just beyond our understanding.